Hopefully people will hop on because this is going to be, I think it's going to be a fascinating IG Live. As many of you know in the description, it's because of this video that I posted yesterday morning that was sent to me. And it was a surveillance video that shows a group of guys shooting a self-defense video. And they're from a group called Asians Are Strong. And all of a sudden, you see them running off camera because they literally are witnessing a robbery taking place, and they went to stop it. And it was a robbery of an Asian family. I guess they were visiting from out of town. So this is where we're going to be finding out the details of what happened, because you don't see any of this on camera. And I really wanted to feature these guys because they're fairly new, I think, but I'm going to get more details from them when they join us. We're going to, is that Jeremy? I think that is Jeremy. Yep. Are you joining? Okay. You have to say that you want to join. Let's see. Okay. You have to say that you want to join me. Yeah. Or else maybe I can invite you. I can always do that too. Anyway, so these guys, started this effort to, here we go, to teach self-defense. And they're really great because it's so practical, the advice that they give. But anyway, this is what happened in this viral video. Hey!
Hi, Vic.
Hi, Hudson and Jeremy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
having
having us.
Yeah, no. I'm so glad that you could join us. So I'm just kind of chatting about why I'm having you on and the description of the video that you guys had posted. This is how it happened for me. This is how I found you guys. So yesterday morning, I wake up to a message from a friend of mine in New York, and she had posted this video, of you guys, doing your video and then running off camera. And she said, hey, a friend of mine sent this to me thinking that you might want to post it because, they are aware of what I do with the show and stuff. So that's how I found you guys. It was totally random. And then I posted it. And then, of course, more people started seeing it. And I think you guys have been getting some love since then. Yeah?
Yeah, thank you. You definitely helped that a lot, and it's been really, really inspiring and a little overwhelming to be honest with everything. So thank you so much for giving us a voice and a platform.
Well, listen, I'm always wanting to highlight anyone who is, putting their skills and their voice and however that way they are doing it to help the cause. And as we all know, we are in a crisis situation right now with a lot of anti-Asian hate and violence and attacks that are taking place everywhere. And you guys are in the Bay Area where so many of these attacks have been taking place. So
Yeah.
first of all, okay, let me properly introduce you. Hudson Liao. And Hudson, yes, okay. Jeremy Jong on the right. And tell me first and foremost, I think everybody's probably dying to know, what happened in this video? Because all we see is you guys, from the surveillance camera, you guys are doing your martial arts, your self-defense video. The photographer is trying to shoot that. And then all of a sudden we see somebody coming out of a door, and he's like kind of putting on a sweatshirt, and he's the first one to zoom off camera and go running. And then the two more people go running. So tell us exactly, basically give us the play-by-play.
Yeah, so pretty much we were filming some martial arts, specifically self-defense tutorials for our Asians Are Strong page. And I actually go inside to put on my Asians Are Strong sweatshirt.
Okay.
And as I go inside, I hear the car alarm go off. So I just walk outside and I see directly from the northwest part of the block, the trunk of a car was open, and I saw a guy fumbling two backpacks, and got the positive ID, and then saw that he was about to run, and then that's when my reflexes just kicked in, and I just started running towards him. So I ran towards him, and then he had a key to the housing right across the street. So
Oh.
he actually got into the apartment complex inside. So I had a little bit of a tug of war battle with him. He happened to drop one of the bags right when he got inside the gate, And as he got inside the gate and I picked up the bag, I saw that my brother was behind me and he had already hopped the fence. So I dropped the bag. I follow my brother, and Hudson follows right after us. And Hudson retrieves the bag. I'm running towards my brother, who's running towards the suspect, and he runs across the parking lot of the complex, and he runs through the other civilian gate into the Japantown Mall, which is right across the street. And from this point on, I simply was just following my brother, and my brother was able to corner him. First things first, when I got in the mall, I didn't know where anybody was. Richie was maybe about.
Wait, you went inside the mall?
We had to go inside. He ran inside the mall, which is where my brother followed him. And but when I went in the mall, I didn't see my brother. But it was just like a yellow brick road. Everybody was just pointing to that direction, saying that the guy was there. I have a feeling they probably thought we were undercover cops or something. Right. I really don't know. But my brother had him cornered, and he immediately was just screaming like, "I don't have anything, I don't have anything." And but we had positive idea. We knew that was the guy. So,
yeah.
After that, I tried to do some judo tosses, but my judo is terrible, so I resorted to wrestling, and I was able to take him down. Immediately after we took him down, there was already a police officer right there that knew him from a first name basis, and was and they took it from there.
Oh, wow. Okay. So basically then you were able to apprehend him and make like a citizen's arrest, until the cop got there. Yeah.
Exactly. We were ready I'm pretty confident, like myself, Hudson, and my brother, we're going to be able to secure him until police. That was originally the goal. We were going to just hold him down, call the police or call the mall security. But luckily we didn't really have to do that, because as we were chasing him, the police were actually patrolling, which is just by chance they were already there. So they actually saw him run into the mall, and then they saw two Asian guys chasing the guy after, and so they were like, "We got to check this out."
Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit though. I know in the message that you guys posted with this video, you had said that the car that was being robbed happened to be an Asian family visiting, right, from out of town. How did you guys find that out, and did you meet the family?
Yeah, so actually, we didn't know who was in the car ahead of time.
Okay.
We met the family after everything got settled. They were actually eating inside the mall. So we just knew there was a crime happening. We didn't know if it was against an Asian, an elder, white, black, Hispanic, or anything.
Right.
We just saw something happen, and saw, Jeremy just hopped into action just because that's what we're about. We just want to help people.
Yeah.
If it wasn't an Asian family, we would have done the same thing, even if we knew ahead of time. But Jeremy, as you can see in the video, he reacted right away, and I'm like, it took me a second to figure out what was going on, because I was actually, to be honest, I was slightly annoyed with the car alarm, because like, oh, now we're gonna mess up our shoot, but then Jeremy runs, and then I could see him running, and I could see the suspect running away with everything, so I tried to cut him off. And that's when we had to scale the fence, grab everything, and then chase him back into the mall again. And like Jeremy said, as I was running into the mall, the policeman was already coming in.
Right.
And we definitely want to give a shout out. Like, he was there on time, super fast, and the way he handled that situation was incredible. He really de-escalated everything.
Wow.
Managed the situation, managed the people. We know there's a lot of like drama right now regarding the police and how they're handling things. We're just saying from a very personal experience that day, he was absolutely amazing.
I'm glad you said that, Hudson, because as we all know, there's a lot of criticism right now against police departments and police officers because some for good reason, because of the Chauvins of the world, right? But there are likely more good cops than there are bad cops, and they are there to hopefully serve the community and protect. And in this case, thankfully, you're saying that this cop was a good guy and did his job and helped you guys. So, but if it weren't for you guys intervening in the beginning, then this perpetrator probably would have gotten away with the robbery, and this poor family would have lost everything on their vacation, I guess. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're visiting. They were coming from Kentucky, and they drove. Yeah, then they drove to San Diego. They were like a little, I think, on a West Coast tour.
Okay.
And they were pretty shocked because it was a rental car, so they got targeted because there's a rental car because they're out-of-state plates on it.
Right.
And so I think that's what the perpetrators were looking for, knowing that there might be bags in there and things like that.
Now, here's the thing. You did say in your message, also in your post, that, look, we are professionals in terms of self-defense and martial arts, so we don't recommend that everyone does this and just like leap into action like you guys did. But you know, you said like with Jeremy, I mean, you just immediately, it was instinctual for you to just jump into action. Why is that? Tell me what that feeling was like for you, for you to jump into action that fast.
So I wouldn't call it professionals. I think Hudson and I have just extensive training in various martial arts. I think for me specifically in that area, or just San Francisco in general, there's just the amount of car break-ins that have occurred the past however many years, forever. I mean, my car's been broken into multiple times. I was just tired of it. So anytime I hear anything like that, for the most part, I'm always on the alert, especially in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
But I think it's just, you know, going back to the whole what Asians are strong, what we stand for. It's like we shouldn't be hesitating in a situation like that. If you see somebody that needs help, then honestly, you should just go ahead and just if you have the strength and you know the technique to do it. I mean,
Right.
If you watch the video closely in the beginning, there was actually two couples that walked past us, and they actually noticed it. And you know, it's just their first reaction was to just, oh, there's something going on, but it didn't click in their head that we needed to just hop on right there. But here's the thing: if they had ran towards them, you know, they would have had three other guys running with them towards the fire on that
Right.
one. So, but to answer your question, I think it's just, I don't know, it was just instinct. You know, I can't really explain it, but maybe it's just through years and years of martial arts training and combat training, and that it's just instilled in my head to actually just do it.
Well, let me fill in a couple of blanks there.
Okay.
Yeah. Jeremy is an ex-Marine, so he has actual training.
Okay.
So
Well,
I'm
yeah.
assuming that helped a little.
I helped just a little bit. Yeah.
But also the other aspect of it, what he was talking about, the car breakers in that area, that's called situational awareness. If you know you're in an area that has this prevailing,
Yeah.
you need to be cognizant of that. Same thing like you're walking down a busy street or in an area that has happened or just has, like, things like this has happened. You need to know that you may or may not be a target in that situation, what to look out for.
Yeah.
And so when those things are triggering and understanding those scenarios, that helps you understand and react faster to do those things. And you know, you're not going to be able to react to do something the first go at it, right? And that's one of the things we want to make sure we highlight. Self-defense, bystander intervention is a practice thing.
Yeah.
You're not going to watch one of our cool, funny self-defense videos in a minute and learn any of these moves. You have to practice it. And you find groups, find teams, go to a gym, and just be empowered to do it. And that's one of the things we want to do is like inspire people like, hey, like there's an answer. Now you have to take ownership for yourself to do it, to actually act on it and make yourself better over and over. For us, like we could have done this situation better. We keep running through the scenario. What could we have done better?
Right.
You know, every time, and we keep doing this. Especially learning how to climb a gate better.
I mean, that's why, and thank you for filling in the blank, Hudson, because that's a major point to make, that Jeremy was a Marine. Okay, so, but let's go to Asians So Strong. Our Asians Are Strong. You guys started this not that long ago. Tell me when you guys started this.
I can tell you the almost exact date, because it was the week of the Atlanta, Georgia shootings.
Oh.
And things were bothering me personally for a while. And then the next day, the grandma got punched in San Francisco, the one that fought back with the stick and everything. And shout out to another great cop, Samba. Shout out to him for stepping in and helping her. But those things were like weighing on my mind. And I was having a hard time kind of focusing at work. And then a friend was like, hey, it was St. Patrick's Day as well. Like, do you want to go to a bar? So we went to Jeremy's bar at Paina, where actually the crime happened. We were just like, you know, decompressing and talking about the whole problem, and we were thinking, man, we need to do something.
Yeah.
And all these, there's so many protests, so many rallies. They're looking for infrastructure change, policy changes, and we 100% agreed. Like, those things need to happen. Those systemic changes need to happen for us to fight true racism, true like inequality. But our communities are getting attacked right now.
Yeah.
Like grandma's getting punched in the face, grandpas are getting stomped in the head.
Yep.
I literally, right before this interview, I just saw another video of a 63-year-old man in Harlem getting stomped on the head.
Yeah, like a dozen
for
times.
no reason.
Yeah, for no reason. Yep. I know. It's
so
every day, you guys. It's every day, sometimes multiple times a day. So believe me, I think we're all sharing this frustration of like, my God, we got to do something now. So that's clearly what you guys were talking about that night.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to do it now. We have zero experience hosting a rally. So that was the first thing. Like I wanted to put something on that really empowered and reminded the Asian community that we are basically strong to do this. This is a problem we have to deal with. And also to build back some confidence, right? People walking in fear. Friends are telling me that they're in fear.
Yeah.
Some didn't come to the rally because they were afraid they were going to be attacked on the way to the rally.
Yep.
It would have been the worst rally for anyone to attack them at, to be honest, because it was like all martial arts.
But that happened. That happened, I think, with another rally where a woman was on her way and she got like assaulted.
With her kids.
Yeah, with her kid. Yeah. So it happens.
There's like no decency. And me and Jeremy were talking about like, how do you have a conversation with these people, right? Like that's the frustrating part. Like, where do I start a conversation with someone that says it's okay to beat up a 75-year-old Asian woman just because?
Can't.
Like, I can't sit you down and rationalize you to not be a racist anymore.
Right.
Like, that we don't talk the same language. I can't communicate to you, you can't communicate to me.
Yeah.
So it's like, but what we can do is get our community to protect themselves, take the ownership to make them sure that they're strong enough, they're empowered to protect, their family, their loved ones, protect their mom, protect their sisters, everything. And that's what we want to do.
Okay, so it's only been like a month or two, right? So since you guys started, so I've watched almost all of your videos that you've posted, and they are really good because they are practical. Because you're basically trying to make up real life situations and scenarios where you would be attacked from behind or the side, or you even replicated the situation where that Filipino woman was beaten up in front of that building in New York. Mm-hmm. And how, the guys who did nothing inside, what they could have done to help that situation. So it's all really practical. So you talk about situational awareness, which I think is hugely important. Let's talk about what that means and why that's so important, because I think that's something that I think we really need to pay attention to. No more earbuds, no more talking on the phone, all that stuff. Describe what that means to everyone.
So, situational awareness. I think the first thing we need to talk about is just because you're on the alert doesn't mean that you're not relaxed. You can be on the alert and still be casually fine. We talk about just getting off your phone, something as simple as that. So I've been actually taking the bus a lot, quite recently because there's been some crimes on the bus here, specifically here in San Francisco, and also in I know in New York it's pretty bad too, but I'm observing everybody, but that doesn't mean that I'm paranoid. It's just more I have a clear vision of what's going on. And the main thing is I'm on my phone. But I look at everybody else on the bus. It doesn't matter what race you are. They're glued to their phone or they're glued to their music. So anybody can kind of come up to them and just sucker punch them and without knowing. So, so just going on to that.
Okay.
I mean we've seen that happen, in some of these videos with, people are just cold clocking others. But just going back to the situational awareness, it's just, you have to be aware of your surroundings. Like there's really no safe place anymore, unfortunately.
I know.
You can be in the safest neighborhood in San Francisco or New York or Chicago or LA, but unfortunately they're coming from all angles.
Well, let me ask you guys this, because I know that this is something that I think about all the time, and I know so many others do too. Some of these attacks, there's nothing you can do to defend yourself because literally people are coming from behind and just pushing, an elderly person. You push an elderly person from behind, you push anybody from behind, you're not going to be able to respond to that. So, what can you advise in even it's just something like that where it's completely out of your control?
And that's why this problem is so complex and why, we're talking about empowering yourself, but it's also empowering the community. For instance, like that, even if that elder person saw it coming, what could they do? at that point, you're literally hoping the community will step in to stop it from it happening before, or catching the perpetrator from it happening again, or attacking another person.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's what is part of our mission. Is not just is empowering the individual to become an active community member, because we have to beat this as a community.
Yeah.
No individual person is going to be able to do this alone. If every person learned martial arts, it's not going to save it. Like, the community has to let people know this is not tolerated. They're not going to get away with it. And if we're there, best believe we're going to do something, right? Like, if we saw you in the street, someone's picking on you, or your loved one, or my friend's grandma's walking down the street, I want them to know, like, if they're near Hudson or they're near Jeremy, they're going to step in, and that's the kind of safety and community that we want to help build. Because we've been lucky when we go out, like if I go shopping with my mom or something, I'm there. I'm going to protect her. And if anything happens, I know I'm going to be confident to do something about that. But we want that for everyone. We want people not to live in fear, but it's going to take a community to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes from as well.
Yeah. No, some people are saying, you need to like give off a bad vibe or like have some confidence when you walk around, which, look, you guys, I'm like just over 5 feet tall and less than 100 pounds. I mean, if a guy that's 6'2" and over 200 pounds attacks me, that's going to be a tough situation. But it's also, I also know exactly what you're talking about. That's why I wanted to mention the situational awareness. Being a journalist, having traveled all over the world, and I've been in some precarious situations, I have developed this sense of always just being very in tune with my surroundings and just, paying attention to what's going on. And Jeremy, you're right. It's not like I'm always stressed out. It's just that I'm really pretty hyper aware. And I think it's also, again, as a petite Asian woman, some people might think, oh, easy target. I think I do give off a little bit of a different kind of vibe, like don't fuck with me vibe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Swear. Okay.
Sorry. No, but I think it kind of helps, like it's like you kind of want to give off a vibe. It's like, okay, listen, I don't think you want to try to attack me versus somebody else,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so going back to what you just said and about Jeremy's situational awareness is also how to make sure you don't look like an easy target.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
If you're talking about yourself as a perpetrator, what they're trying to do is look for easy money, easy target, right? Like, especially when you're talking about a robbery. So if you're unaware, you're not looking, you're unsuspecting,
Right.
you make yourself an easy target for them to attack. So if you're looking, they already think, oh, this person's alert. Makes me think secondly about attacking this person.
Right.
Or they're on their phone, they're showing their valuable. In their mind, like, is it worth it to attack this person, steal that phone or their bag, and putting yourself in that situation? Because, like you said, we're not talking to normal people. If you're thinking in the mind of a perpetrator or an attacker, who are they going to do? They're picking on people. They're not going out into the middle of the street and like challenging me or Jeremy to a fist
Right.
fight for fun.
Right.
They're attacking people unexpectedly, suddenly, elderly
The
people,
weakest.
women.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weakest people.
Yeah.
And so if the weak, timid people act weak and timid and unaware, like, it just perpetuates that kind of a cycle. Now, you say you're physically smaller, but you carry yourself, you're aware, I'm alert, like, hey, if you mess with me, it isn't going to be easy. Like, you better be ready to, like, come at this,
Yeah.
or you're going to have to put up. Then the attacker's like, well, maybe it's not worth it to do so at
Right.
that point, you know?
Right. Tell me,
And just
yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I was going to piggyback on that just a little bit on situational awareness, and it's like not all situations are created equal, right?
Yeah.
So how you would react in one situation is going to be different from other situation. Like, so you definitely need to build up the confidence and also a little bit of some sort of intelligence to know how to assess the situation
Right.
at all angles, and not just have one general move for every single. Because then you're just living in fear, and now you might be committing mistakes without you even knowing.
Right.
But
Right.
the main thing is just situational awareness. It's also a long-term project. You're not just going to get it right away, but something simple as just getting off your phone, keeping your eyes up, knowing what to do if things do get a little bit weird, and having a backup plan, and then a backup plan to the backup plan.
Yeah.
That's
Let me ask you guys some practical questions then. As all these surveys have shown, it's Asian women are 2.5 times more likely to be attacked than others. And so, what should women in particular think about when it comes to protecting themselves and in different situations? I know you just said you got to assess different situations, but what are some of the common things that you see that women should be doing that they're not, or, you know, anything like that?
Don't put all your valuables in your bag.
Okay.
That's number one.
Okay.
Because you're telling everyone, like, all my stuff is here. Here's my target. That's all you have to take. Now they're going to look at you, but like, I have one obstacle. Is it worth it to take that? I know everything's in that bag. And likely, you're going to fight for it. If you have your phone, your cell phone, your work laptop, your keys, everything in there, you're more inclined to fight for it. Now, if you have, like, separated some of your belongings, you might let that go. And you're like, you know, it's not worth it. Let them run off with it. You know, self-defense and, you know, if you're trying to fight for your bag, that's a different story, right? Then now you're trying to fight for belonging. However, if your goal is to work for your personal safety and let the bag go, if you have your wallet and your most valuable things, let them feel like they took the bag away. That's one thing that I would recommend doing.
That's a good tip, actually, because we've seen that. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember that video of that woman. They grabbed her bag and she was clinging onto it as she was on the side of the car.
Yep.
Like as she came out of church. I don't know if that was only like a couple of weeks ago. That was crazy.
That was on Pokin Bush.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. So I was like, was it worth it? Like, and at the end of the day, like, it depends on her. Was it worth it? Now, if there was nothing in the bag, she'd be like, I lost the bag, right? So that's where it's like kind of like putting yourself in that situation. It's kind of like when you go, like, when clubs are open, you go to a club, you don't bring everything with you. Like, you have a couple of key belongings, that's it. But imagine, like, in that situation more often than not, like, when you go out, you don't have to throw everything, go with it and whatnot.
Right.
And, yeah, and, like, for instance, like, if that situation really does happen, someone's taking your bag, you know, for your personal safety, your physical safety, we recommend just giving the bag up, to be honest.
Yeah.
Nothing's real, but if you're really trying to, like, keep your bag, you can throw certain things around, like, to distract them and things like that as well. But
you can always get a new bag. You can always get a new LV bag or Gucci bag, whatever.
I mean, it's true. It's true. And in this day and age where you can cancel everything, you know, in a second, all your credit cards and everything, it's not worth it. It's not worth trying to rescue your bag and get injured or even worse. Okay, what about bystander intervention? Because oftentimes what really pisses me off, but of course I've never witnessed an actual crime take place in front of my eyes, so it's hard to say like how one would react, right? But you see these assaults taking place and you're saying, where the hell is it? Why isn't anyone trying to help? You know, just like that, again, that woman who was beaten up in Manhattan and the doorman just fucking closed the door, right? So what is going on in those situations, and what do you think should happen? And again, you don't want people to put themselves in danger too, and that's I think that's the push pull effect, right? It's like, what do you do?
So I want to actually go back to your last question about what specifically smaller Asian women do, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm just being completely honest. Okay, so we both train. He trains Muay Thai, I train Jiu-Jitsu. Well, we kind of cross train and all that too. But any kind of extensive training in specifically those type of arts, if you're a woman, it doesn't matter what size you are, you're going to be pretty tough. You're going to be pretty hard to take down. You're going to be pretty hard to take out. I've seen 105-pound girls choke out 200-pound dudes. Jiu-Jitsu works. Muay Thai works. Boxing works. These things work. So my advice for some of these women who are very, very much like scared, I mean, do some shopping, find a gym, and train. I mean, the best self-defense is actually just training. You're like what Hudson was saying earlier, you're not going to be an expert by just watching our 1-minute clips or our 30-second clips.
Right.
You have to do some sort of extensive training, and you know, self-defense is again, it's a very long-term project. You're not going to know everything. You're never going to know everything, but like just a couple of days doing a workshop, that's not going to do anything. You need it needs to be something of a hobbyist, like of a hobby, and you need to do this extensively. And going back
you know what, Jeremy? I'm glad you're saying that. Because I think we live in a society of like instant gratification, thinking like if we watch a video or if we just read about something, we're just all of a sudden going to know something, you know, we're going to be experts. And that's, with self-defense and martial arts. I mean, I did Taekwondo, you know, when I was younger and a couple of self-defense things, but it does take time, you know, because of it's the muscle memory, it's the body awareness, and then it's like being in tune with yourself physically. That's important as well.
Absolutely, and that ties into the same thing with the bystander interventions. It's yeah, I mean, if you don't know anything, then
Yeah.
it's going to be kind of hard for you to intervene, right? But
Yeah.
something simple as just speaking out, even just yelling, that's already going to go a long way. Now, if you want to physically do something, that's completely different, but that ties into the extensive training.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So with bystander interventions, there's kind of two ways to think about it. There's like the non-physical preemptive type of intervention. And I think the Hollaback 5Ds like distract, delegate, direct, and two other ones obviously I just forgotten. To really like how you in a situation like that, try to distract the perpetrator, the harasser, by yelling their name, talking to them, making sure that they're seen. And then delegating, like tell someone to call 911. Like in those situations, like don't yell at someone call 911 because no one's gonna do it.
Yeah.
You have to point and be like, you in the
Yeah.
red jacket, call 911, and you go over there and keep distracting them. You can throw something like. What pisses me off a lot is how many people have videos of a crime happening and they don't do anything, right? Like there's 9 people with different angles of the same crime.
That's what
Like,
I'm saying. I mean, they're
yeah,
just standing there shooting the video, but it's just like, what are you doing?
at that point, they will be more useful for that person's life if they threw their goddamn phone at them. Like, just throw your phone. Like, you tell them to airdrop the video to you afterwards. Like, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. So,
But they,
yeah.
yeah, so going back to what they should do in a physical, number one is make sure you feel safe too, right? You don't want to jump in if you don't feel safe. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to understand that. That's why Jeremy is like, understand training. Then you understand where your limitations are, where you're confident at, what you're gonna do. We're putting out different videos out there to kind of give people visual kind of proof that there is something to do. You can't get to this level if you want to. This is what you can do. Here's an option, right? We don't have all of them. We try to make them very scenario based so that they're more accessible. People can see it working.
Yeah.
We see a lot of other self-defense videos. They're like in the gym and they're doing moves that like I don't think anyone will actually do in real life. Like especially if they're panicking. We have a different group where we're trying to make accessible, trying to talk to and understand that these are people who don't train for the most part,
right?
And they don't actually are participants, and we're trying to get them to do something. And in a life and death situation, a really panic situation, they're not going to remember the details of our posts. They're going to be like, what's the first 3 things I remember, the first 2 things I remember?
Yeah.
And we think about it that way so that if it happens, they do it. And we try to go through tips where if they're going to intervene, that it mitigates their exposure as much as possible. Because one of the things is you don't want to become a part of the problem as well.
Right.
And we're not encouraging people just to jump in there, without regards to their own safety. But we do encourage people to do something, and that's what we want. And the something is going to change from person to person. If someone was on that street yelling, they might have stopped it. Someone could have done what we did, just chased them. Someone could have thrown their phone and clipped them in the face, and that would have worked. Like, do something. Like, just don't stand idly by and watch a hate crime happen. That's like one of our first call to actions is just don't be passive.
Yeah.
That's it. Just don't be passive.
Don't be passive. And I've always been saying you got to speak up, speak out in whatever way you can. Everybody's going to be different. Everyone's level of tolerance or courage is going to be different. But we can't let this slide anymore. And clearly, people like you are not. You're using your skills to try to provide really practical information. And again, these videos, if those of you who are online, if you haven't seen them, go see them because they really are really useful. They're pretty simple. And I love the fact that you emphasize just do this quickly and run. You're not saying, get engaged in some throwdown, until you kill the person or something, but you're being very efficient about what you're providing, the information that you're providing.
Yeah, and that's something we have to tailor as well because we come from sometimes competitive, after you do this, you want to. You're like, no, wait, you're trying to get out of there. It's like self-defense techniques and how to put yourself in a situation where you're safe and potentially a victim is safe as best as you can.
Yeah. Well, before I let you guys go, then I need to ask you one question because you are in the Bay Area, because I'm down in Southern California. Why do you think there's so much of this anti-Asian violence and assaults going on in the Bay Area? What's up with that? It seems like it's so concentrated there.
Yeah, I think it's a very complex uh, situation. There's layers to it.
Yeah.
There's anti-Asian xenophobia. I think the the misconception and the handling about the narrative around coronavirus, COVID, like that obviously doesn't help. And then people using a scapegoat. And when you have one group of people that are all kind of disenfranchised together, like, and you turn them into an enemy for whatever reason, like they're they're saying, oh, we're not talking about Asian Americans, but you're layering that interpretation, and so that doesn't help. I'm not saying that is the only cause of it. And in San Francisco, a lot of the people that are committing crimes are repeat offenders,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of punishment here. So you're talking about like a powder keg of all the best scenarios for a criminal, right? Like they have easy targets in Asians because they believe that they're timid, and they're passive,
Yep.
and they have money. They're in San Francisco. The community is not going to do anything, and if they get caught in San Francisco, they're likely going to be let out anyways. So it's
Yeah.
like, why wouldn't they commit a crime here, or
Yeah.
why wouldn't they target an Asian person at this point? And that's part of the narrative we want to change. Like Asians are strong isn't just for the community. It's like letting the rest of the world like don't think we're targets, don't think we're victims, and don't think we're passive
Yeah.
because we're not.
Right.
And that's the two layers. Like number one, don't target us. We shouldn't be targeted because self defense, to be honest, like it's a shitty situation. You're fighting for your own life because someone is attacking you. Like you shouldn't have to use self defense, right? Like
Right.
if you're using or any of these techniques or moves, it's because you're in a bad situation. And so it's like the narrative, like what you just said, the narrative before that is like, why are they attacking us? All these layered conversations that we need to have, and we need to have dialogue with other community members as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it's also careful, like you touched it a bit, where we have to be careful with like not misdiagnosing everything as a hate crime, because more oftentimes than not, it's definitely someone attacking the weak, and just like what Hudson's saying, we perhaps need to have these dialogues with other communities, and I mean, because the only way for us to get through this is if we work together.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? And I'm the fact that the situation that you stopped, the robbery, of course, people might jump on it saying, oh, look, they were attacking this Asian family. Well, the robber had no idea this was an Asian family's car, probably. I mean, we don't know that for sure, right? But so this was just a straightforward robbery. And the family, the victims happened to be Asian who weren't even in the car. So, yeah, I think it becomes very easy to sort of simply categorize these crimes as race-related hate crimes when sometimes they're not. But you guys, thank you so much, though, in terms of doing the work that you're doing and deciding as individuals, and this is the beauty of what's going on right now, individuals like you see that there's a problem and you decide, you know what, I'm going to do something about it. And you're making a difference. So when people say, I can't do anything as one person, yes, you can. Yes, you can. As two people, you decided, okay, we're going to do something and we're going to try to help. So that's awesome.
Yeah, if we could pull off a rally with no experience, like you can too.
In what, 1 week or 2 weeks?
2 weeks, zero experience, but that came together because of community. When we had the idea and when we were talking about it, like everyone wanted to help and they donated so much stuff, and that's what like keeps us like inspired to go. Like I didn't even ask for a lot of the help that came to us. They probably saw like, oh, you have no idea what you're doing. They just helped out. But when people came through and just started helping and putting it together the way it did and getting that reception the way it did, it's like it's still mind blowing for us, and that's what motivates us to keep going. Thanks to people like you who give us a voice and inspiration. Like we've been getting great comments, and like we keep sharing with our team, and it just makes us want to do a little bit more, and get more involved with people.
Well, Hudson and Jeremy, you know why? It's because people can smell bullshit a mile away, right? So they know that you guys are the real deal. They know that you're doing it with good hearts.
We can bullshit too.
Okay. Well, sometimes I do
I'm
too.
kidding.
But no. But seriously, it's like they know that your intention is true and genuine. And when it comes from that place of a genuine, true intention, then that's when people are going to respond to that in a positive way. So that's what's happening with you guys. And I'll tell you, I got a message on my Instagram from somebody who knows you guys. They said that they trained you guys, I guess, at some point. And he said, you guys are the most decent, you know, great people who have such great intentions. And he was very, very complimentary. I should send it to you. I can't remember who it was, but he says
was it Brenton Geyser?
I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up. But he said, I remember him saying that he trained you guys, or he trained with you or something like that. And he was just like, these are the most decent, well-intentioned guys, you know? So, yeah. So, you know, I mean, people know when people are trying to do a good thing for a good reason, with genuine authenticity, which is my favorite trait in people. So
we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, we very much appreciate
no,
it.
thank you. Thank you. And thank you for making the time to talk to me. This is great. I'm going to release this back onto Instagram, the recording, so people can watch it who didn't catch it. And then I'm also making this into an episode of the Melee Show. So you guys are going to be all over the place.
Oh.
All right. No, I honestly, I love highlighting good work that good people are doing. So again, thank you so much for what you do. Let's stay in touch. I think it's awesome. I'm going to keep on watching these videos, and I hope others have been inspired now to, like you said, Jeremy, you know, you got to train, you know, and motivate and kind of do that so that you can feel a little bit more confident about going out there. So thank you.
Yeah, one thing is, it is your ownership. Like anyone watching this, you can't make an excuse. That's the number one thing we want to make sure. You don't make an excuse.
Yeah.
Like you can if you want to. You can find an excuse like 7 ways to Sunday if you really want to, but it's your responsibility to protect yourself and your family, right? And you have to take it on yourself to get there, to do something. You can, and that's what we're showing. Like we can do this. You can do this. Like anyone can. And we're not telling you to be like a Marine, or we're not telling you to be like a black belt. We're not telling you to be like a SWAT team, like patrolling. You don't need to do that, but it starts one step at a time. Take care of yourself, because the other thing that we want to talk about is like there's a mental and physical connection of safety. If you don't feel physically safe, you're not going to mentally feel safe. Yeah. And that goes for the community. Why we think is really important for this physical like demonstration, why we had to rally that way, is that people need to feel physically safe to feel mentally safe, and that helps do more things. If you don't feel mentally safe, you're not going to want to go out for a protest. You're not going to go rally. You're not going to stand up at work. You're not going to stand up for the microaggressions.
Yep.
And those are linked together. And, you know, things like what you're doing, hopefully what we're doing, they see that, oh, man, there's a group of people really together trying to tackle this. And that's what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do it together, guys. All right.
Thank you, man.
Keep up the great work. Back. Thank you, guys. All right. We'll stay in touch. Okay.
Okay, thank you,
all right,
man.
Thanks, and thank you all for joining. Again, I'm going to be putting this out there again so you guys can watch it again or share it, okay? See you guys.
Bye.